Joining me now for a reaction, the first Green Beret to serve in Congress, Representative Michael Waltz, along with former acting director of national intelligence, Rick Grenell. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight. You're both experts on this. I want to ask you both the same question. As you see Joe Biden and Kamala Harris taking the reins and changing the direction of what the Trump administration did, what do you see happening and what will be the consequences? Rick Grenell, let's go first to you.
Look, I think what we're seeing is that the goal is consensus. The goal is to make sure that the Europeans and Russia and China and the UN Security Council and everybody come out all happy and in agreement. And the problem with that is when the goal is consensus, it just means that the others get to water down our policy, maybe even veto our policy. And so instead of viewing talks as like a tactic, say, so that we come together and we push our policy. Look, there's no question that sometimes the American policy or the American position in the Trump administration, we stood alone and we would step out. But we did that because we felt like that was the best thing for the American people, and then we would convince others to follow. And many times they did follow. Our goal wasn't to be accepted by the rest of the group. It was to protect the American people, and that's the opposite goal that the Biden team has.
Yeah, Congressman Waltz, it's a difference between leading from behind and actually leading the world as President Trump did. But give me your perspective on what's happening here.
Well, Rick is exactly right, and he really took this on as ambassador to Germany, as did Secretary Pompeo. But the bottom line is the Iranians smell weakness. They can smell it from a mile away, and I don't think Neville Chamberlain could have been this naive to give our leverage away. The maximum pressure campaign is working. The thing the Iranian regime cares about the most is not its own people. It cares about its wallet. Its oil exports are down to virtually zero. It's struggling. It can no longer pay its terrorist proxies. Yet in the middle of this dynamic, we are going to release sanctions. That's what the Biden regime is doing. Is going to allow its diplomats free travel now, and is going to ease back because they want the deal so badly that they're going to give our leverage away. And I want to remind everyone that the Iranian regime tonight, as we speak, are holding Americans hostage, including one that was promised by the Iranians to be released during the Iran deal, and they reneged on that promise. And they just had their proxies attack an American facility just this very week. Yet we're going to start pulling back on this maximum pressure campaign and starting to give our leverage away. If we would just keep up that leverage, we could actually get a better deal that has all of the elements of their nuclear program and get to a permanent deal that doesn't have sunset provisions.
Yeah, and Rick Grenell, it was 1 year ago today that you became the acting director of national intelligence. Amazing things happened under your leadership, and we had progress in the Middle East with peace deals with Israel, in the United Arab Emirates, and others, because we took a position of strength. It's sort of that Ronald Reagan adage of peace through strength, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Our allies saw what a U.S. policy was like in the Obama-Biden administration, and they didn't like it. And so in the Trump administration, they actually were scrambling. We should thank President Obama and Vice President Biden at the time for having such a weak policy that they convinced our allies to sign on to peace deals with Israel. If you think about that, they saw what happens when you allow Iran to bully the neighborhood. As Mike says, they smell weakness, and this is exactly what happened. They threatened us, by the way. The Iranians said, we're not going to let any inspectors in unless you drop the sanctions and let our diplomats do more walkabouts in New York City. And that's exactly what we did, is we caved. They smelled weakness. Mike is right.
Congressman, I've only got about 30 seconds here. What's your biggest fear as we go forward? Because we're not even 1 month into the Biden administration.
Yeah, the Iranian regime is emboldened by weakness and deterred by strength. If you look at just over a year ago, they were attacking international shipping. They launched cruise missiles into a Saudi oil facility. They attacked our embassy. It killed American and almost overran it in Iraq. Yet Trump took out Soleimani and all of that stopped. Deterrence was restored, and that's the posture we need to stay in. And then finally, if we let up the gas here, if we let our foot off the gas, they will march towards a bomb on a ballistic missile, and that will proliferate across the entire Middle East. And that is my biggest fear.
Well, I'm afraid you're right, and we're only days into this administration, and they've already let up on the gas pedal. Gentlemen, thank you both for your service to this country, and thanks for joining us tonight on Hannity. Appreciate it.